One of the first things you're going to notice when you turn on the TV and watch an elite middle distance runner doing their thing is just how effortlessly they appear to be doing it. While you and I feel as though we're working our butt off to try and run at a fast level, these guys seem to be doing it absolutely effortlessly. And that's the exact mindset they want you to believe that they're doing it with, because if we see that they're doing it effortlessly, then that's a mental advantage to them, not only over their competition, but on our ability to believe that we might be able to take steps towards running at the level they're at. So today, I wanted to have a look at 20 years worth of running coaching and studying athletes and peek behind the curtains to offer you 5 little secrets that elite level middle distance runners do not want you to know about what it is that makes them so good. Let's have a look. All right, before we get started, one thing we do have to acknowledge is sure, natural talent comes into the equation, but this video is about unpacking what it is that elite level athletes are doing that you can apply to your own running to maximize your own running potential. I'm not coming here saying that if you do these 5 things, you're going to be an Olympian in 2 weeks' time. What I am saying is that if you can do these 5 things over a long period of time, your ability or your chances of maximizing your natural level of talent will be maximized. And that's all that we can really ask for. So with that being said, let's have a look at 5 things elite level athletes are doing on a regular basis they all know about that you might not know yet. All right, the first thing is they have relentless consistency. The idea of missing a day or missing a week of training because they just don't feel like it is not in the conversation. But there's something more we need to know about developing relentless consistently. First of all, before we do, we've got to state running has a reputation for rewarding the athletes who are the most consistent. So perhaps it's no surprise that there is such a big focus on this first point. But how do you do it? Because even with the best intentions, some of us get sick, get injured, get over it on a regular basis, which when we look back 12 months down the track, we go, okay, we missed a lot more than what we probably should have. So step number 1, you need to take an appropriate training schedule based on your injury history, your current fitness, and the goals that you have for yourself. If you're a brand new distance runner, the idea of trying to train like an elite level marathon runner is not a good way to go about creating consistency, because firstly, your body is not at a state where it's going to be able to absorb the work. So you're going to be fatigued, you're going to be tired. More than that, you're going to be at a higher risk of injury. What we need to do is go, okay, where am I at in my current fitness routine? Am I new? Have I been around for a couple of weeks? How many miles or kilometers can I run in a week without getting too tired? And with that information, speak to a trusted coach or a trusted friend in the sport of distance running and say, what do you think is a realistic goal for me? If you create yourself a structure based around a goal that you're trying to reach, then the chances of you being consistent with that training routine is going to be a lot higher. One of the biggest mistakes that I see as a coach and an athlete who's been in the sport now for over 20 years is that there's a lot of people who can do a lot of work for a little bit of time, but there's fewer people who can do a little bit of work for a long period of time. You want to be in that second category to start with, and as you gradually get more and more consistent, your body has the capacity to absorb the work, then your chances of increasing the distance, the duration, the speed that you're running is increased at a greater level. Once you start being able to do that over 6, 12, 18 months and beyond, your improvement is going to be out of this world. So take a leaf out of the books of the elite level distance runners from all around the world and have a relentless focus on consistent running. The second point, which ties in beautifully to point number 1, is sacrifices are going to need to be made. While it's all good and well to have the world at your feet and have the natural talent to absolutely explode on the running circuit, without the ability to recognize that you have the talent and have a goal before you, it's got to be difficult to say no to the other things in your life that are really important. Now, perhaps this one is more obvious than some others, that when you watch an elite level athlete, you know that they're going to be saying no to certain foods, to certain drinks, and to certain social invitations so they can be fresh and focused when it comes to their training routine. One thing that you've got to prioritize in your life is, where does your running actually fit into the list of social activities that you have for yourself? If it is quite high and you're starting to recognize that you really love it, you really want to get better, have a think about what you can say no to outside of the world of running, so that when it comes to your running performance, you're more fresh, you're more ready, and you're more enthusiastic to get out there and do it. Now, we've all had those nights where we've gone out a little bit too late. Perhaps we got excited, stayed out later than we should have, or shouldn't have even gone out in the first place, and we've paid for it as a result the next day. Your goal is to clarify what's the most important thing in your life, what's the least important thing in your life, and eliminate the excess so you can focus on what is essential. There's no one size fits all for this. Have a think about your own life and where you'd like to be in 12 months with your running, and from there work backwards to figure out how you can create structure to get the most out of your running performance. Number 3 is injury management. Now, if you're a brand new runner, you might be shocked to realize the discomfort, the frustration, the little niggles and injuries that sneak their way into your running performance. In fact, one of the things I notice most with the athletes who I've been coaching, who have been in the sport for the least amount of time, they often feel as though they're not doing something right based on the injuries or the niggles that they feel. Now, the truth is, every single athlete from every single level, despite whether they're the best in the world or they're just starting out, is going to deal with niggles and little frustrations along the way. Your goal is to clarify what it is that is causing the trouble and how it is you can get through it. I would encourage you to have a certain set of trusted healthcare professionals around you, whether it's physiotherapists, massage therapists, your GP, someone that you trust in the world of your body and what it needs to get treated effectively, because it's not if you struggle with an injury or a niggle, it's when. If you are in that category, don't beat yourself up. You are not an exception. You are the norm. One thing that elite level runners do far more effectively than so many athletes just getting started in the scene is they get on top of the niggles and the discomforts very quickly. They also have a capacity to dictate what is a serious niggle and what is something which isn't really worth stressing about. A good little gauge for you to navigate your way through this is if the pain's from about 1 to 3, it's not really causing any discomfort, chances are that before you run, if it still feels the same at the end of your run, you're going to be in fairly good hands. If the pain starts to intensify, a 3 to 6, it gets worse as you run towards the end of your run, that's where you want to start to pay a little more attention. If the pain is from 6 and above, either before the run, in the run, or after the run, would really encourage you to get on top of that. So don't sit back and think, oh my gosh, woe is me, I'm never going to be good at this running because of the injuries I face. Do something practical. Get a healthcare professional that you trust and build back from there. Number 4 is developing mental toughness. Now, this works in a number of ways. The first area we see mental toughness in a professional distance runner is obviously when it comes to the crunch. In the middle of the race, when our heart is pumping, lactic acid is building, we're tired, we'd much rather be finished, but we've got to switch on and focus. But the other area of mental toughness, which ties into injury management, is the ability to see things for what they really are. Let's focus on that one for a minute here. So many of us are in a habit or a routine of catastrophizing quite normal situations. If you haven't learned any CBT or cognitive behavior therapy, I would encourage you to learn a little bit about that. That is simply challenging the thoughts that come to your mind. Another way that Dr. Daniel Amen discusses this is through the ANTS acronym, automatic negative thoughts. We have so many thoughts that go through our mind, and whenever things aren't going well in running, often they can overrun our mind and make us feel overwhelmed. What we need to do is challenge those automatic negative thoughts by asking the question, hey, just because I believe this, does that really make it true? And then have a look at that situation from the perspective of someone who's more positive. If you can do this time and time again, your ability to take things in your stride, on the track, off the track, with injuries, niggles, and challenges that come up, such as a bad race performance, are going to be so much easier for you to get over emotionally. The only thing that's worse than having a bad race result, which we all will have at some stage, is dwelling on that for months and months and just feeling the emotional fatigue that carries along with that. Same is true with the mental toughness aspect. How can you develop a thinking strategy in that race to know, okay, I am going to hurt at some stage during this race. How do I maintain my technique? How do I maintain my rhythm despite the fact that I'm uncomfortable? Often it's an awareness of the fact that we have the capacity to control certain situations with our mind that is a launching pad to make the changes. So if you haven't considered it yet, would highly encourage you to come up with a thinking routine or a thought challenge routine that's going to help you become better and not bogged down. And lucky last, you want to get a team environment going on. Yeah, sure, running's got the reputation for being an individual sport, but whether it's the healthcare professionals that we spoke about when it comes to injury management, the coaches, the athletes you run with, the support crew that's around you, you want to have a whole heap of people on your side, because at times, despite us doing the best we can to improve our running performance or how we feel about our performance, from time to time we're going to feel tired, flat, disappointed, whatever it is. having a team around you is really nice to bounce ideas off, discuss frustrations, hear different perspectives, and enjoy the journey towards where it is that you're trying to get to with people who care about you. If you haven't done this already, would highly encourage you to get on board with a crew who cares. In fact, if you don't know where to start, Relaxed Running offers professional coaching for athletes of all levels, all distances. So if you're interested in getting on board with the Relaxed Running crew, hit the link in the description below. We can get you started there. If you'd like to have a Zoom call with me to figure out whether or not we might be a good fit for each other, let's line up your free Zoom call and have that conversation. But guys, there's just a few little secrets that elite level runners are implementing on a regular basis that you may not have known about. It's not always the miracle things that make the biggest difference. It's the small things done consistently. Guys, there's plenty more from Relaxed Running, whether it's through our podcast that I've linked in the description below, the coaching, or the memberships that we have for running-based sports. If you need any help from us or we can help guide you in the right direction, make sure you get in touch. But for now, happy training, good luck implementing these skills, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you in the comments below. Guys, thanks so much for stopping by. If you liked that video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Got new videos on all things running coming out every week.